Well, in your book, you also talk about, it can go from many different perspectives, but as a coach, a beginner's mind, and always being open, that's the words you use, beginner's mind. Always be open to new things, learning as a coach. And I see, a lot of the pitfalls in the industry, a lot of the coaches are so regimented and fixed on either their system or one training tool. And a beginner's mind, I see, is something that will only benefit your athletes. As a coach, you're dedicated to the athlete, and it's your responsibility to continue to build your knowledge and learn different areas of how to help them. Whatever their needs are, after your needs assessment, everything that we talked about. Tell me what a beginner's mind means to you.
Well, beginner's mind is a concept that I got from reading a lot of Zen philosophy or other books, and there's a famous quote that says, in the beginner's mind, the possibilities are endless, but in the expert's mind, the possibilities are very few. And it's almost interesting that we talked about it, like, in the beginning of anything, we're on this quest, and we're on this quest to find out as much stuff as we can, and then when we find out some stuff, we think we got it, and now our mind kind of shuts off to anything new, and we think, no, I'm the expert, and I'll just stick with this because it worked for me, or this is what I feel comfortable with because I feel safe. But to be great at anything, you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to always be pushing your limits, and what I say with my athletes is, you gotta keep that beginner's mind that everything should be fresh, that you should always be learning. So in that workout today, we were talking about stuff, and I said, wow, you know what? A push-up, hey, it works the upper body, but we're also working ankle flexibility, big toe flexibility, certain areas that are missing with a lot of the guys' bodies. Who never thought of that before, or even with the nervous system stuff about what a jumping jack is and how it has a plyometric effect on the body and how you can better perform that. It's almost like sometimes when we're so familiar with something, we lose our respect for it, but there's always more to learn. And I guess my line that I would say is, man, like now having traveled for 3 years and seen stuff all over the world, I'm more open to new things because the more stuff I learn, the more I figure out I don't know. Right. I think, man, it's human nature that it's easier for things to be black and white. It's easier to say this is right and everybody else is wrong, because then you don't have to think, you don't have to challenge yourself, and it's comfortable. But really, training, guys, it's the gray area in between. There are no definitive answers. Yep. There is no, don't ask me like, hey, what's the one exercise you could do if you're trapped on a desert island and, and everything else. It's because there is no answer like that. But the cool part is that we ask the question. We're all on this hunt. We want to find that thing. We want to know more. But just what I would challenge everybody to do is never to forget that we're all on that path always learning, because it's with me all the time too. Like, people now want my opinion on stuff, and notice the word I use is opinion. So you can't confuse opinion with the truth. See, what I see a lot of times is it's somebody's opinion, but he believes it's true, so he measures everybody else in the world against it and says things about other people. Whatever your ideas are, they're yours, but you got to respect everybody else's. And man, we talked about some of the things. I'm learning more things every day, and I've learned not to discount things instantly. So instead of saying immediately the 50 reasons why something can't work, I challenge myself now to come up with 50 reasons how it could first before I start. And that's what keeping a beginner's mind is all about. And I'll tell you, it's helped me make more friends in the industry. It's helped me learn more things and create more inroads to find out new information, just like what you guys did today. You guys came in with beginner's minds to try stuff. You could have came in and said, hey, we deadlift and we squat, and I'm not doing this crud because that's what we do and that's it, and your stuff's stupid, it looks, not right. And there's people still that have that mindset, but the minute you start thinking like that, that's when not only is everybody passing you by on that path, but you're probably going backwards too.
So you've been all over the world. You've seen all kinds of different trainings. I mean, in these 2 books alone, there's over 700 pages of information. With all these different types of training, what was like the one common thread amongst all these different athletes? Was there anything that brought them onto the same playing field? Their passion, their dedication? Was there, how were they similar, and maybe how were they different? Well,
I'll say this, and it's pretty interesting. First book was more about, or kind of the concept was to use MMA as the vehicle about fitness. And, so it's a fitness book. I don't care if you're a football coach, a soccer coach, I don't care what you do. There's exercises and information in here. It doesn't matter if you're a fighter or not. Right. And then I took it deeper, where in the new book, Ultimate Warrior Workouts, I said, hey, I want to travel around the world to understand the martial arts that make up MMA and how do those guys train for that. Right. And I thought that's what I was going to investigate, the nutrition, the training, the food. But what this book, really became an investigation of, to me, which was nuts, and this is where I've been spending a lot of my time, was actually mastery. So the common thread that I saw when I went and worked, I mean, and I'm saying with the best, you know, the last living masters, the guys that have devoted their lives to something. See, and there's a big difference, guys. It's not, I'm not talking about an hour a week on Wednesday nights at 7. I'm talking about 6 a.m. to getting you up early, keeping you, you know, staying up late, and you are doing it 24/7 in between. You live it, you breathe it, you do that for 20 years. These are the guys that I was spending time with. You know, patriarchs and family members that like created the stuff that we're doing. And I saw this, I couldn't put my finger on it at first, but it was mastery. These guys were masters of what they did. They were masters of how they ate. They were masters of how they moved. And that mastery and that art translated into mastery into other aspects of their life. And man, and what I saw was the common thread was, how did they get that? It was 20 years of relentless repetition with simple things, but becoming the best in the world at it.
Right.
It was having a coach that really cared, which we already talked about earlier, and it was a guy with a burning passion inside of him to be the best.
Right.
So I came back, you know, I thought I came back with exercises. I just came back to with the secret to success, guys. Spend 20 years and tens of thousands of hours doing simple things until they are extraordinary. Have people that support you, that know what they're doing to show you the way, and do not give up if that's your burning fire for it. And that was like the message that I really got out of this book. Now, it's not, you won't read that in some ways in this book, but that was the thing that I saw, that like that's what I want to do. Like I want to keep studying and keep, you know, getting into this deeper and deeper until, you know, and ultimately the part is, when we say mastery, who are they mastering?
Themselves.
They're mastering themselves.
Yeah.
They're not mastering their opponent. They're not defeating their opponent. They're not, winning by getting money or all these other things. It was about mastery of themselves. And guys, that's what training is about. See, sometimes we lose sight, like training's about to win, or training's about to it's another, PR, or it's something else, or another inch on our biceps. Man, it's about understanding yourself, because that's like what the whole quest is about. And, you know, it may be getting deep for you, some of you guys. You might say, oh man, Martin Rooney's losing his mind, but it's that is the stuff that I pulled out that I think, man, it may be deep, but it is, I'm telling you, it's the truth. It's the stuff that we're all looking for.
Now, you talked about mastering themselves and the movements, and what I really found amazing was there was nothing complicated about what they're doing. I mean, beaches of Brazil, they have homemade weights, body weight movements that you've never seen, different angles, you're contorting your body, you're moving your body under tension in non-linear patterns. And we were talking earlier about how most strength training movements are strict linear patterns with you're fixed spatially. Your feet don't move, you're under heavy tension, and you develop compensations, you develop limitations, you develop flexibility issues, you shut down certain small muscle groups. Martin in the warm-up was activating all these different muscles that you never work when you move the compound movements, because you're just dominating with the prime movers. Tell me, like, I saw there's this bar in there, it sort of looked like a club bell, but it was a cheat sheet, it was on a stick, it was
stone on the
it was a stone on the... it just seems like, regardless of the tool, they were just getting it done, and they were just doing these simple movements, but just mastering them.
And that's a piece of me that I want everybody to see from this book is, see, we talked about this, whether I want to call it Americanization or whatever it is, we take concepts from certain parts of the world and we turn them into something else, but still call them what that thing is. My example is sushi. So guys, if everybody's had sushi here in America is now we don't order like a piece of sushi. We order the rock and roll, super bad, mega shrimp crab, jacked up something roll that's covered in fish and whatever we got in the place, we wrap it all up, and it's not even prepared by somebody from Japan, but we still call it sushi. And that's not what sushi is, but that's now what sushi is to us.
That sells.
And using that same example, training sometimes, because our minds are bored, that's what training sometimes becomes. So like, hey, wow, these guys did this thing. Or like, man, if I hear another thing about the Eastern Bloc or this or that, like, hey, guys, I went to the Eastern Bloc now. I wasn't seeing what I thought I was going to see from everybody, what we've been talking about here. But we got to understand what we turned everything into. But when I went to these countries, they didn't have gyms.
Yeah.
And they didn't have $10,000 pieces of equipment and tons of technology and hooking themselves up. They didn't even have places to plug in the electronics that we got,
Right.
But what they did have was what I talked about before, relentless pursuit of perfection and an ability to spend a lot of time doing tons of repetitions, which we've lost. See, what's all our technology about? To try to make it faster, simpler, and not have to get it done in 6 minutes. Well, mastery is not going to get done in 6 minutes. It's going to get done in 20 years if you spend it that time. So it's the kind of thing that in this book, it's body weight exercises. Man, if you can't even use that piece of equipment, I don't care what tools you got, it's probably not going to work. There was tons of just different push-up varieties, body squat varieties, training with the partner, chin-ups, getting back, I guess we could call it the basics, but they're not basics. It's like that's still advanced training. It's just you have to learn it. So that was definitely a trend I saw everywhere where guys, I went to Thailand, man, there's no money in Thailand. They don't have gyms and equipment or anything else, but these guys were fit, these guys were incredibly tuned up, and man, when they kicked you or hit you, you wanted to know what training they did. So that was the thing that changed about me. It was like, man, the guy kicks your rib cage and you say, hey, how do you train?
Right.
Because I train like a maniac. I feel real strong, but I can't kick you like that. What do you do?
Right.
So it really opened my eyes to some different things. And again, I'm not discounting our training because that's what I cut my teeth to. That's what I do as well. But it's that there is so much more to it that we could find. So never always question where the stuff came from that you're doing. Like, has it been sensationalized? Has it been Americanized where we've turned things into something it's not? Because I'll say this, when I went to other countries, they think Americans are all super rich movie stars and pro athletes. So it's like that's their vision of us. We got visions of other guys, but it changes when it crosses oceans, I guess. But so you never know if you're getting the authentic thing or not, or if it's just somebody's idea because you got bored. But going back to the basics will never hurt you if you spend enough time on it.